We have some amazing women in our church, a lot of amazing women. And I want to introduce a few of them to you right now. And they're going to make their way. There's 4 ladies that are going to be coming up. That and you can come up right now, guys, wherever you're. Yeah, awesome. And they're going to be sharing a little bit about their stories and their interactions and what God's been doing in their life and what they see and things that excite their heart about what God's doing at Mosaic. And so we're going to welcome them up. I'm going to just tell you their names real quick, and then they're going to introduce themselves. Come on, this is Heather Bowney. She'll be on the end down here, or wherever. Go wherever you want. That's great. Heather Knapp is also down here. This is Chelsea. Is it Elof?
It's Ilfeld.
I never say her last name right, and I'm so sorry for Chelsea. And then Tracy Hall. Would you welcome these amazing women? Woo! And so we just want to take a few minutes and hear from them. And before we kind of go into a couple questions, can you just, I feel like I'm on like The View. And this felt like a good idea when I started, but this could go really south. Because I haven't watched that much, promise, no guilty pleasure there. But anytime I do, it's always like a highlight or a low light, a clip where somebody got beat up. So I'm just setting myself up, but now I trust them. They're awesome. Just tell us, go around this way, just tell us real quick who you are, how did you get connected to Mosaic? And where are you involved in Mosaic, serving or where your engagement is? Just go around.
So this is what you wanted me to sit in the first.
There you go.
First. Okay. My name is Heather Knapp. I have been attending a Mosaic when it was previously known as The Rock. If you've been here since then, whoop, whoop. Since December 2019, we were invited by a neighbor. I'm a Colorado native, and I married an almost Colorado native, and he would like to take credit for that, for sure. I serve in the kids ministry every other weekend.
Woo!
Yeah, I love your 2nd and 3rd graders so much. They just have bring so much life into me, and I hope I just make them feel loved on Sundays.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have served a little bit on Connections early on. Leslie kind of invited me in to wave at you at the door coming in, just making you feel welcome. And Heather will tell you a little bit about MOPS, I'm sure, but I go to MOPS, and I wanted to mention that because it's been such a good mom support for me, having my little 2-year-old that you saw earlier. Awesome. That's me.
I was going to say, yeah, you might recognize Heather from Rosa being dedicated earlier. So that's so awesome. So thrilled you're here. Another Heather, the 2 Heathers on the end down here. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Heather Bowney. My husband Jeremy and I have been married just shy of 10 years. We have 3 little boys, ages 6, 4, and 1. So yes, my hands are full. That's always the question, and yes, it is true, but in the best way. We have been attending Mosaic just shy of 2 years, and I currently coordinate the MOPS group here at Mosaic, and if you don't know what that is, it stands for Mothers of Preschoolers. It is a ministry for moms who have children that are under kindergarten age. So we meet during the school year and just get to do life together, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful ministry. So I really enjoy that. We typically attend the 9 o'clock service here at Mosaic, and yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Your husband Jeremy's been involved in
Yes, and Jeremy has been involved in helping teach the Financial Peace University class here as well.
Yeah, lots of involvement. It's awesome. Cool. Come on to this side, Chelsea. Tell us about you.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm a single mom. I have 3 kiddos. Brian is 7, Zoe is 3, and Ariel is just 11 months. I've been going here about a year now. I started going here because a baby shower was thrown for me. I was really in a time of need and in a dark place. And so I walked into a room full of women and gifts that I didn't know, and so it was amazing. So that's been about a year. I am involved in MOPS as well. It was my very first kind of venture out, and so I just really love it, so thank you. And then I also do women's studies, and I'm serving on Connections every week as well.
That's awesome. Love it, awesome. And then Tracy on the end.
Hey, I'm Tracy Hall. My husband Joe and I have been married 36 years. We have 3 grown married children and 4 grandchildren, the 5th on the way in August. I grew up in Canada. I'm Canadian. And we came to Mosaic the week after Jeff and Leslie came, actually. So, right
I've
as...
been able to shake them since.
So you're stuck with us now. You're stuck with us. No, so we came kind of at the transition, and we have loved ministering here very much. We have taught some marriage classes. We meet with some pre-marriage couples one-on-one, and do that kind of thing. I've team taught with Lauren Bell, not Lauren Bell, but
Lauren
I would
Todd,
be happy
yeah.
to do that with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
Lauren.
Okay.
Lauren Todd, some women's Bible study, which I really do enjoy. And we just have a passion for seeing strong marriages go forward from here. So currently, I am the one who's helping get the Broken Pieces Cafe up and going during the week. So I would love for all of you to come and see me, come get coffee, come like meet people there. We'd love for you to use that time. So
Awesome. Well, amazing women. Here's what I'm already loving also as well. If I would have invited, and maybe on Father's Day we'll do the same, invited 4 men up here, there would be no notes. But man, there are notes galore. They are either ready for the questions I gave them or they're ready for attack. I don't know which one no, I'm just kidding. I love it. They're all seriously notes ready. We are women. It's awesome. So, so you guys could hear, we were talking, thank you, by the way, and it takes a lot of courage. Thanks for coming up. This is a blessing to me already. Yeah, thank you. And by the way, what was cool, if you heard, I think, Tracy, you've probably been here the longest, 2.5 years or so, almost 3 years, newer to our church, just finding engagement in so many areas. So if you're finding difficulty knowing how to get plugged in, talk to these ladies and more, because they're finding so much areas, not just be involved, but to help shape and lead and welcome others to the table as well. We're talking about the woman at Samaria, at the well there, the Samaritan woman, the challenges first century women in Palestine and Israel would have been facing. And I wanted to hear from you guys on, a lot has changed, over 2,000 years, but there's still some things that women battle and challenges that they face. So anybody can start with this. But what do you see are some of the challenges that women face in culture, in the church, internally, whatever it is? Fire away. What are some of the challenges you see women facing today?
I will go first.
Yeah.
So I think it's very normal to have to fit into a box for looks and size, race, political sides, moral beliefs. Really, we're just at a really judgmental time. And so that puts so much pressure on us as women, to be the best or the best mom or, whatever the definition of a good mom is. And so unfortunately, I think that gives us like a lack of community and support, which then, it's hard to kind of go out there the first time and say, hi, I'm here, I'm ready to connect. So I think there's just a really big barrier in getting people to just come and just let go of all of the superficial things that the world is giving us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
My answer was so connected to yours, and I figured this would happen, that we all feel very similar, and we as women are more alike than we are different. And the challenge that I thought of during the week was women not feeling good enough, and so fitting inside that box, a lot of what you said. And I think that leads to stressed out moms and stressed out women who put too much on their plate because we're not good enough, keep adding more. And I don't think that's a healthy feeling, and I think that's a big challenge that a lot of women are feeling today, that we do not feel good enough.
yeah, I agree, Heather. I think we as women, we take the mistakes we've made or the hard things we've been through, and we use them as a reason to not go forward and not, whereas God wants to take that and use it as the reason for going forward because of what he's taught us through it all. So it's funny that we kind of all are on the same page as far as that goes.
And of course, I totally agree with all of that. And something that Chelsea said sparked a thought in my mind about the community piece. I think that in this day and age and in our culture, we struggle with, and especially now, but even pre what we're dealing with now, isolation as women and as mothers. Where in, more of the biblical times, the well is the place that the women would gather, and they knew they had that every day to go, and they would see each other, whereas now we're much more isolated. We're in our homes, we're doing our own thing, we live far away from our families, we live far away from our friends. We don't have necessarily regular, easy opportunities to gather together and to do life together as a village, as I think that we were really made to do. And so that's hard. And then, of course, you add in the pressures of, what do we look at when we're at home, social media, and you bring in that comparison piece, and that's what we're seeing. Rather than that face-to-face connection, we're seeing that not necessarily what's actually really happening in other people's lives. We're seeing, just the highlight reel, and then we're comparing ourselves, and then we're sitting back and saying, well, I'm not doing that for my kids, or I'm not doing that for my family, or I'm not doing that as a woman, and I'm now feeling less than because they all apparently are. And so, just that comparison piece and that isolation piece, I think, is a real struggle in our culture right now.
It's funny you guys all say that because I was earlier this week talking to a couple ladies on our staff in the office, just kind of pinged this at them real quick. Hey, this won't make any sense, but just a quick question. What are some of the challenges you think women are facing today? And they said the exact same thing. And I think one of them worded it something like not feeling worthy or feeling like not good enough, something like that. And man, the church, as you can see, because of the way of Jesus, the church has got to be better at that. The church has got to be different in that. He modeled it for us. He calls us to this, as we just talked about from the scripture. Any thoughts? Have you had a chance to kind of think on ideas on how the church could be better, or where we should be wrestling with this? And basically the question, how do we affirm, as Jesus did to this woman at the well, how do we affirm the value, the beauty, the worth, the intelligence, the wisdom, the gifting? How do we affirm women better in a faith community? Because the church is what changes the world, I believe. And how do we do that better, even in our generation?
I think, not necessarily speaking to Mosaic, personally, but the church as a whole, giving women an opportunity to speak. Our voice does matter. Jesus, as you already said, he recognized that women's voices mattered, and we can make an impact and we can make a difference. So I think that is something that the church, generally speaking, does struggle with, giving women a real voice to
Amen.
speak.
One really good thing about Mosaic that I love, I know we're not there yet, but it's just come as you are. Like if you didn't read the book, if you didn't read the Bible, if you're wearing jeans, if you're wearing shorts, it doesn't matter, just come as you are. And that, I think, as a church, it could be better, but here as a home, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And you find, that acceptance is what you find as a result of that, because, you don't have to. I love that about the woman at the well. Jesus doesn't do any condemnation. He doesn't say, go get this fixed. He doesn't say, you got to go through this class. I got living water, and I'm the one that you've been looking for. So, Tracy, or anything to add to that? Like thinking about how could the church be better, or any thoughts on that?
Well, my answer kind of piggies back to what we're going to maybe talk about soon, but just in short is community. And Heather mentioned that also, is just like get together. Women need to build each other up. We need to make an effort to be with one another, to build each other up rather than play at this comparison game. And, being more alike than different. We need to realize that, as women as a whole.
Yeah, good, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think in just allowing us to be where we are on our own spiritual walk, what we're wrestling with, and not like no judgment, no condemnation, just allowing each other to walk with Jesus together. And I think that will provide an environment of inclusivity, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, of course, the whole heartbeat of our series. There's a seat at the table for everybody, and I think the more we can embody that and teach that and live that, the more people know, regardless of gender, age, socioeconomic levels, whatever your story is, there's a seat for you. People find engagement and acceptance in that. So a couple of you have touched on this already. One of the things I love to hear, obviously, you're enjoying what God's doing at Mosaic. You're finding all of you so involved. Share a little bit, because maybe some people are trying to wrestle with the very things you're talking about. My guess is both online and in the room, there's women, men too, but particularly we're talking about women today, who feel less than, who feel on the outside, who feel all the comparison, who don't feel worthy. And sometimes it's hard to get engaged in a community of faith like this, because like the woman at the well, will I just be ostracized if they know the real me? You guys haven't found that, and you all have stories. We all have stories, right? So what's exciting you about what you've experienced at Mosaic, or where is God at work in your life or in the areas that you're leading that you just love to share that you think might be encouraging to others? Cool. Anyway, you want to start on this side? Can we go this way, or whoever? Yeah? Cool.
So I just came to faith on Black Friday, I'm sorry.
On Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Still getting in.
She gave her life. We had our Good Friday service in here if you're a part of it, and Chelsea afterwards gave her life to Jesus. That is so awesome.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a hard road since. So I survived some pretty crazy childhood trauma, which led me to a road of kind of PTSD, depression, anxiety, all of that stuff. And so I have these children and I don't have a husband. And so there's a lot of ostracizing that I feel that I might get. And so I really, since Good Friday, I've just been at peace with that and knowing that there is a seat here for me, even though I don't have a husband, even though I have 3 children, even though I have a terrible past. God and Jesus have showed me just the peace in my heart. I'm no longer overthinking, no longer struggling, no longer just living that exhausting life. So it's restful.
By the way, you have no idea how much life you bring, Leslie and myself and others. It is so fun being around new believers. I love mature believers and seasoned believers. So if you've been a follower of Jesus for a long time, no offense. It's so fun because that's me too. But we forget sometimes, you know how David says, restore to me the joy of my salvation. Man, there is such a thirst and a hunger and a peace in you that is just, I love it. And it actually helps me with my teaching, as we've had some conversations even on the phone this week, just like, oh, I got to explain that better. Or there's language, our religiousese language that I know, and I'm like, there's other people that don't know those words, and we don't want this outside in thing. So your story is absolutely beautiful, and it's just beginning. It's so cool. Thanks for letting us be a part of it. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Tracy and Ad, what's exciting you about, or in your own spiritual walk, or here at the church, what you're seeing?
Yeah, you know what? I love the atmosphere that we have of being able to be authentic, being able to be true to who we are. And I think that's a theme that we're going on is, it doesn't feel like there is judgment, condemnation. We have, and Jeff and Leslie have, made this atmosphere as part of our church. Let's live this together. Let's wrestle through together. Let's struggle together. And if you're struggling, let me come alongside. And I love that part of this church. I also love the heart they have for outreach, in the community and beyond. I just think that, man, light a fire under us and we can, go do anything God calls us to do. So.
I can tell you when I first walked through the doors of Mosaic, our family was church shopping, which if you've ever church shopped, it's not fun at all to walk into a new place and try to find where the Lord is leading you. And I can tell you I walked in those doors and I never left. Well, I mean, we're still here, so you know what I mean.
Cots in the back.
Yeah, we have cots in the back. But there was just an atmosphere here of genuine community and warmth and welcome. And we have just felt that and just felt that even more ever since. I love the opportunities provided here for community, whether it was initially Connection Point, where we got to know the Bells and some of the other people from church, or the cafe is open, come and connect, come here. Women's Bible studies, come, connect, meet other women, learn about Jesus. MOPS, young moms, come, connect. Let's do real life together and talk about what is actually happening and encourage each other and build each other up. There's just so much opportunity to come and connect. And again, with the well, there's a well here. Come and draw from it. Come and find Jesus here together and be encouraged. And that is just such, I think, the heartbeat of Mosaic of let's do life together. Let's do real life together. And there's opportunities. There's life groups. I mean, just anywhere, that you want to find community, there's an opportunity for you here. You just have to open yourself up to it and come and take the first step and join. And I love how many opportunities I've seen I can tell you the church that I came from, I was there for 12 years. I've met more people here in the 2 years that I've been coming than I did in the 12 years I was at my previous church. And that's just been wonderful to just really have a true, genuine Christian community come alongside us and our family and care about us and want to do real life and real community.
That's awesome. Heather, why don't you lead us into our last question that I want to ask is, what would you want to say to the women out here? There's some online right now. There's some in your generation, our generation, some older, some younger. What would you want to say to them? And then if you want to put that together with, what would you also want to say to the men out here? Yeah, you can lead us on that maybe.
You bet. And I just mean this deeply from my heart, and women being more alike than different and coming together, as I said before. And what that means is, and what I want to say to you is, start believing who Jesus says you are. Do not believe the lies of the enemy, and maybe what that voice can say in your head, and the feelings of not feeling good enough. Because when you start believing that what God says that you are, your life begins to be transformed. He makes the brokenness of your life anew. And that is what I felt in Mosaic and what I'm excited about. And that's what I want to tell the women out there. God does love you, and, be in the Word to learn what God thinks about you. You are not the stressed out mom that you feel. He believes that you are the nurturer. It is the end result is how God sees you and what your transformation will be. And when you start believing that, your life is transformed. So that's just what I want to say to you and what I believe and what has happened in my life too.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
Can I speak to the young women who might be in the group here or online? You are complete. You are made whole in Christ. I do not believe the lies that you are not enough until you get a husband. You are not enough until you become a mother. You are not enough until you have this career. Whatever it is, where you are, Jesus can use you exactly where you are and as you are. You do not need to wait until this step, that step, the next step. Each season in itself is really beautiful, and you are complete already. You do not need anyone else or anything else to make you complete. You find your identity wholly in Jesus. And to the older women in the group, the ones who have gone before us, I want to tell you, we need you. We need you to mentor us. We need you to come alongside us and build us up and encourage us and tell us you are going to survive this stage. We need you. Don't think that, empty nesters, that your time is done. We're here. We're still here. We need you, and we're asking for you to come and walk alongside us in our journey and build us up, because you have the wisdom of the experience, the wisdom of the maturity. And so please, we need you sometimes to reach out to us, because we're too ashamed to ask for help.
Oh, that's so good.
I can lead it up for the men.
There you go. I was going to say, what would you like to say to the men in the room or men online?
Yeah,
Help
I
us.
think it's important to just cherish us and help us on our hard days. It's something that I don't have, and so I have to kind of lift myself up. So if you do have a woman in your life, just love her and cherish her.
That's good. Absolutely. Yeah. Tracy?
Yeah, I love that idea of cherishing each other and believe in God's redeeming power for whatever He's brought you through, that He wants to use that in this body and in your relationships and in His kingdom. So believe that.
Yeah. Love it. Chelsea, by the way, we did our child dedication earlier. In the next service, Chelsea's dedicating her children, so that'll be amazing for that crew to be able to celebrate with us as well. And you next weekend are getting baptized. Yeah, getting baptized next weekend. So much to celebrate there. We are so excited. God is doing work. Listen, if you don't know these ladies, do yourself a favor and get to know them. Now you'll know their names, a little bit of their stories. You can see them in the lobby and just cheer for them. Will you thank them for sharing some wisdom and insight for us today? Awesome. Thank you, guys.